Hi, my name is Olivia. For my project, I chose to do a speech by Denzel Washington. Although he is an actor, he's amazing with his words and always finds a way to portray a beautiful message. The speech is a little bit longer. It starts around 6.5 minutes. It's a commemorative speech giving at University of Pennsylvania. His speech talks about discipline, failure, and like he says multiple times throughout, falling forward. Although he doesn't call himself a philosopher, the message lines up with a lot of the ideas that we studied, specifically Stoicism. He argues three main points, and the first one is to expect failure. He says that to the students that if they're not failing, they're not trying, they're not even trying. He also talks about success is mostly discipline and consistency, not talent. And then again, he says fall forward. And in other words, when something goes wrong, use it as fuel to push farther forward. Put all your eggs in one basket and go and get some more eggs. His message is very motivational, aimed towards personal growth. It's emotionally uplifting, and it's framed towards real world advice rather than academic, which personally makes the message perceived as more powerful notion than an average lecture. Probably why it's so relatable is because many of us experience our own struggle and fail and are lacking confidence or disappointed in ourselves and need to persist through those difficult times. It's much easier to relate to than ancient ideas that the themes don't always relate in our modern society. What's interesting about Denzel's message is that it lines up perfectly with Stoicism's and Stoic philosophy, especially like Marcus or Seneca, which we've read in class. Marcus says that you have power over your mind, not outside events. Stoicism teaches that challenges aren't obstacles, they're the path itself. So what stands in the way becomes the way, and like Denzel says, fall forward. So he's echoing the same idea, using adversity as an advantage rather than letting it stop you. Seneca also talks about participating in hardship so that failure doesn't break you. He says the wise person is one who prepares mentally for the things to go wrong and doesn't panic when life hits back. Denzel says, don't let fear stop you. It's right in the same idea of like a stoic mindset. Aristotle also fits right into this. He mainly talks about virtue, which is built on consistent action, essentially being disciplined. Aristotle says that courage comes by doing courageous things, just as Denzel says that we build success by showing up every day and staying committed. Their messages are the same. You fall forward. When you fail, get up. So instead of having something to cushion, go all the way forward. And if you fail and you fall, get back up. The message is super inspiring, and these are simplified ideas from Denzel that ancient writers were saying. So Stoicism isn't just about motivation or persisting through, pushing through, but and Stoicism doesn't directly talk about your career success. It's more about your virtue and character development and doing things morally right, where Denzel talks about how pushing forward can help you in your career and in your life, but he also talks about talks to the graduates that they need to help our world, that our world's countries and communities and the states need them to be courageous and to put forth effort and try again and fail so that their efforts count, so that they can be helpful to our society. Stoics believe that emotions aren't just obstacles, they're things that you have to fully understand and reason through, and Denzel focuses on ignoring fear, but Stoicism is more about transforming it rather than just understanding it. It's not just toughing it out. So Stoicism was meant to be a response to suffering, injustice, and human struggle on a deep physiological level. Um, and Denzel's speech is more towards personal success and career success, which is fine, but it's not the original content or like the original intent, but it also fits because it is a commemorative speech. So um, it's kind of simplifying ancient systems and making it more motivational, but it's not bad. It's just incomplete. So personally, I think there's value in both. Ancient Stoics speak more about like deeper meanings of things, self-control, resilience, which you get from like a lot of clips on TikTok and Instagram, a lot of motivational videos, but there's a lot of importance in hearing the deeper meaning of things. I think it's a beautiful message and it's right for the speech, but and it's targeted more than just towards the graduate students, but also everybody else who was in that stadium listening to that speech. But it's also something to take in consideration that the meaning is not the same because we live in a different society, and the things that were important in those days are not necessarily the things that our society deems important now. And most people aren't going to read an ancient philosophy text, but they will see a clip on Instagram or hear a motivational speech or a commemorative speech. So Denzel's ideas are tailored towards our society, but I also think the ideas can kind of become simplified and turned into a cliche, which is sad. But being told to persevere instead of being told about how to guide yourself through life, and that life has purpose and there's meaning behind the small things that we do, and taught how to live a good, virtuous life is very important. Taking an old idea and making it meaningful and translating it into everyday life, like how Denzel did, is also kind of cool. So even though the ideas are simplified, it still helps people reflect on themselves and be honest, and maybe motivate them to think about the deeper meaning of the things that they're doing. But yeah, it's better than not thinking about philosophy at all, even though it's not the same. Thanks.